Today, Bitcoin and Ether get a small bounce as the Fed holds its final meeting of the year. The DOJ charges two men with running a multi-million-dollar crypto Ponzi scheme. And Alex Blania with Tools for Humanity discusses Worldcoin's new protocol update and the crypto project's privacy concerns. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Tanea McKeel. Major cryptocurrencies rising slightly after this week's sell-off. By noon Eastern, ahead of the Fed's final rate decision for 2023, Bitcoin rose nearly 1.4%, while Ether inched higher by about 2/3%. Meanwhile, Solana is moving lower this morning. It dipped by 0.8%. Let's talk about the top stories. RIAs, or registered investment advisors, will probably be the main driver of Bitcoin ETF flows should one be approved in the U.S. But their clients are showing little to no interest in crypto investing broadly, according to Needham. The firm surveyed 12 financial advisors, 75 Coinbase users, and over 200 people to find out who preferred a spot ETF versus buying Bitcoin directly. The results showed that anyone who hasn't already bought Bitcoin some way, somehow, isn't likely to buy a Bitcoin ETF. Just 11% of that group said they're very likely or somewhat likely to buy a spot Bitcoin ETF. And of those who do own Bitcoin, 49% said they'd prefer buying crypto on a platform like Coinbase versus the 40% who said they'd prefer buying an ETF. Advisors said they expect 5 to 10% of clients to buy an ETF in 2024 and 2025 if available, which Needham said was neutral for Coinbase but positive for Robinhood as a platform where investors can buy into ETFs. Next, Binance is pushing for a federal judge to dismiss the SEC's lawsuit against the exchange. In a filing on Tuesday, Binance said the SEC lacked the authority to bring the case, unlike the CFTC. The company also said the SEC's argument that trades on the platform constitute investment contracts lacks any limits, and that investment contracts need to be determined on a transaction-by-transaction basis. Of course, the SEC argues that the company operated an unregistered securities exchange and misrepresented its oversight on the Binance U.S. platform. This lawsuit is also separate from the settlement Binance reached with U.S. authorities last month for more than $4 billion. And finally, the DOJ just charged two men with running a multi-million-dollar crypto Ponzi scheme. U.S. attorneys allege David Saffron of Australia and Vincent Mezada of California ran a scheme that stole more than $25 million from victims through an entity called the Federal Crypto Reserve. The DOJ claims that victims would buy into different investment programs. Then the two men would ask those investors to pay Federal Crypto Reserve to investigate and recover victims' losses. The DOJ even alleges that the two men used fake identities to solicit victims, falsified records, concealed assets, and more. In total, the men face around 5 federal charges and, if convicted, could face decades in prison. All right, for our main story, Worldcoin just introduced a protocol update. World ID 2.0 aims to verify a person's humanity for apps and services without disclosing their identity. That way, brands can ensure their services and offerings are being used by real people at a time when artificial intelligence is advancing at a record pace. At the same time, though, many are still concerned about giving away biometrics to a private organization. Crypto World's Talia Kaplan spoke with Alex Blania with Tools for Humanity about the update and those privacy concerns.
You're the CEO and co-founder of Tools for Humanity, the main developer of Worldcoin, that crypto project co-created by OpenAI's Sam Altman. And you're speaking with us today to introduce what's called Worldcoin's World ID 2.0. According to Tools for Humanity, this protocol update is supposed to help distinguish between bots and verified humans online while preserving privacy. Can you take us through World ID 2.0 and why you thought this update was absolutely necessary?
For one, it's very important. Protocol updates that we knew have to get out there, mostly around security. So, for example, re-authentication and recovery. So if you lose your World ID, you can now just go back to an orbit, recover it. That is easy. And re-authentication just means you actually, as a user, you cannot sell or trade your World ID to other people, but rather you have to re-authenticate whenever you want to use it in kind of more important applications. And that maybe sounds like a small technical detail, but it's actually very important for important applications. That's one. But then two, we worked really hard on the way that platforms and companies can actually use World ID, and most importantly, also developers. And so we launched a new developer platform that makes it very easy for them to integrate. And it actually also comes with some major integrations right at launch. So for example, Minecraft, Discord, Reddit, on all of these platforms, you will be able to verify humanness, which I think will be very exciting to people and will make it very easy for developers to build new applications on top of that we have not seen before.
I want to focus on the privacy component. How are you able to preserve privacy with World ID 2.0 exactly?
So how that works is on a very, very high level, you go to an orb, you sign up. The first thing it does, it verifies that you're actually a human being, so you're not a display, you don't try to fraud it. It creates then a picture of you, of your face and your actual eye, your iris. That's why the iris is the actual thing that the only thing that works on a billion people scale. Fingerprints, Face ID, all of those things would not work. So it's the only solution. And so to that then gets sent to a uniqueness service, which right now is a database. Later it will be an actual blockchain that compares your iris code, which is just embedding. So it's not the actual data. It's just an embedding that is calculated out of that image against everyone else. And if that comparison is unique, you as a user can then prove with a zero knowledge proof on your phone, on your wallet app, that you're actually included in that set of people. And so without making it technically too complicated, what that means is that no one, not even us currently running the server or anyone else, would even know who you are and what you do or what your name is or what your biometric data is. All of these things are cryptographically decoupled, and there's nothing and no one that can change that. And even if you log in into a platform, so let's say you would log in into X at some point or Discord, the platform knows nothing about you other than you did not interact with that platform before with that World ID. So it is, even though it seems like it's kind of, there is an actual privacy concern because it uses biometrics, which I very much understand, it actually is the far opposite. It is far more privacy preserving than your Google login or anything similar to that. So it's a little bit counterintuitive, but it really is one of these things that crypto succeeded in zero knowledge proofs in the last 5 years.
So expanding on that, there have been concerns that Worldcoin's orbs might use the information for things like personalized marketing. Worldcoin argues that the data is used to create a unique and secure form of identification and that it was designed to protect individual privacy, as you just noted. I heard you say that at first, even you were skeptical of scanning eyeballs, acknowledging that it sounds, quote, very scary. So what ultimately made you and your team decide to go this route with the iris recognition? What would you say to the skeptics?
Yeah, so first of all, to the marketing angle, right? That's a very, again, it's very easy to understand how that is kind of a concern that comes up, because that is just clearly what we have seen in the past. Most companies do, right? That's the business model of most large companies. The thing is, if you actually understand the technology and you spend some time with it, and most of it is open source, so you don't even have to trust us. We could not even do that. It would technically be absolutely impossible to do something like targeted marketing, because you as a user, you're fully decoupled from everything else with zero knowledge proofs, and we cannot bypass that. So that's the first important point. And to your second question, to my first initial reaction and then me changing my mind. So yeah, when Sam pitched me the idea in the very early days, and we did the research, the last thing we wanted to do is build a hardware device and kind of do biometric iris scanning, because it sounded crazy as a startup to manufacture hardware, ship it around the world. It probably still sounds crazy to you. So it was not easy, and it was not an easy decision. But we actually spent almost a year doing a lot of research, and that's what I did before. I was a theoretical physicist. I did a lot of research. We built prototypes for everything else that would exist. So we tried to do it with government identities, KYC. We tried to use Web of Trust systems and build our own ones. And we tried all different kinds of biometric versions. So using something similar to Face ID or palm scanning or finger scanning, right? We tried all of these things, but the fundamental difference here is that all the things that you usually use, your Face ID, for example, what it does, it is a one-to-one comparison. It ensures that you're the same person showing up again. While what we will have to solve together as society, with AI becoming increasingly powerful, is we need to solve proof of personhood, which is one-to-many, one-to-n. And so the simple math around this is that if you would do it with face or fingerprints, this would actually not work. It would break. And so back then we understood, okay, the iris is actually the only modality that works to do something as ambitious as Worldcoin. Plus, together with zero knowledge proofs and clever engineering, we can actually make it the most privacy preserving alternative that we are left with. So that then made me comfortable to steer ahead and pursue the path.
Criticism related to privacy surrounding Worldcoin's key feature, that digital identity service, even led to some regulators, including those in the UK, to look into the project. Reuters reported that several countries in Europe, including Germany and France, have been investigating Worldcoin, and in early August, the government in Kenya suspended the project following privacy objections over iris scans. So what's your reaction to all that backlash?
Well, it's not surprising. If you have an app that goes to the top 10 in the App Store in pretty much every country that we get in, and it involves an iris scanning device called the Orb, and that is a Chrome ball. Like there's of course many things that it really is the regulator's job to ask questions, and we encourage that. So we work with all of these regulators, we answer all of their questions, and I think we actually will have some very good news and exciting news to share here soon. But fundamentally, I think the most important message is we expected this to happen, of course. So we prepared for this for a long time. We know we are compliant with the most strict regulations on this topic around the world. So we are very, very confident in the resolution of all of these conversations.
Okay, that's all for Crypto World today. We'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.